Day 28 of buying my reseller warehouse. I've got a few projects to show you, and then I have a really big update regarding the workstations that I know I've mentioned several times in videos. Let me show you this real fast. This is a project that Lori's been working on along with Brad, and basically designing a really solid top to this shelving unit so that that piece can go on top. And this will be a really nice workstation, which it won't be a workstation, but just kind of a work table that we could use to get things ready. Lori's also been playing around with this idea of the casters. I mentioned this before, but trying to have this shelving where we can pull it out so that in this office for the best hobby pages, we could have all the best hobby pages stored on these shelves and they would just roll out. So she's kind of been prototyping a system here with these 4-inch casters that I think will work really well. But the big news today is that got a text message yesterday from Doug confirming that the workstations, the tables are all ready, and he's going to be bringing them over really just in a little while. So this is kind of my last chance to walk over here and look at this setup, which was kind of our temporary setup. Of course, now this table right here and the one that's its twin, they will stay and we'll use them here in the warehouse, but all the plastic tables will pretty much go home. Some of them my employees brought. So this story about these workstations, it actually is kind of like the original beginning of this whole project to document buying my reseller warehouse. And I'm going to include right here some video of back in 2025 in December, once I was under contract but had not closed yet, I started this search for these workstations because this literally was one of the first things that I knew I wanted to do in upgrading my setup and in helping us improve processes. I had this vision of having this whole wall here set up with these workstations. But again, I was real particular and I wanted them to look really nice. And so I'll let you watch that video. And who knows, maybe on the other side of those videos, Doug will have come and gone and we will be able to show you the new workstations. It's been a long journey, y'all.
You will arrive at 9:57
All right, one of the first things I'm going to do to try to upfit this new building is to get some workbenches made. And funny story, I was looking online and found, thanks to ChatGPT, some great countertop workbenches. I really wanted to go with butcher block. I thought it'd be really cool to have it stained and polyurethaned. And so I had ChatGPT find me what I was looking for, which was 8 foot by 3 foot wide butcher block countertops that I could then turn into sort of like a desk or a workstation, and found them at Grainger, which store I'd never been to, but interesting store. So in all of their system, they only had 2 of these discontinued ones that were on sale for a really good price, much cheaper than I could find them anywhere else. So I need more than 2, but I went ahead and bought 2, figuring that that would work out. Bought those, and then I started having some trouble with my trusty little patch van here, and Grainger's rule was you had to come pick them up within 5 days or else they would cancel your order. And so this was right around Christmas, and so I had ordered them, and then we went out of town on a family trip, came back, got an email from Grainger, your order has been canceled. Furious, I called them. I guess it was my fault, but anyways, I was still pissed off. Called them and said, hey, and so they put them back on my card and said, okay, reset, you got 5 more days. So then that was the week of Christmas, and they counted Christmas and Christmas Eve as 2 of those days. Van was still in the shop, and so it got canceled again. And so then I finally renewed it for a 3rd time before someone else scooped these things up off the discontinued rack, so to speak. And I believe that it expires again Friday, and today is Wednesday, New Year's Eve. So I'm driving to Grainger by myself to pick up the butcher block. Now, unfortunately, my wife is concerned, because she's known me for a long time, that I'm going to throw my back out or get hurt or something doing this by myself. She was researching online to see how much these things weigh. And apparently, one site she found said that the shipped weight of one of these butcher blocks is 160 pounds, which is way more than I can carry or move. So in protest, I agreed that all I would try to do was to get them in the van, and I would just leave them in the van. I wouldn't try to take them out of the van and do anything with them until I had some more help. So I'm on my way to Granger to see if I can pick up these two on New Year's Eve, and start the process of upfitting the new building. Another day, making more progress. I just bought some acacia countertops from some super nice guys who have a heavy Russian accent. They're in a warehouse over here. This is a Facebook Marketplace pickup, but they had literally a price that was almost half price of what anybody else had. I've been keeping an eye out on Facebook Marketplace, and so I got 5 of these countertops that we're going to turn into workstations. So here we go. All right, guys, I just finished my deal with the nicest Russian guys I've ever met. I'm not sure exactly the name of their business. They just moved into this new building out here in Charlotte, and they said they have 14 locations across the country, all the way from somewhere up in Illinois all the way down to Florida. So they had all kinds of building materials in their warehouse, mostly like countertops, which is what I was after, but also a bunch of other stuff, tile and different stuff. And so it was kind of dark in the warehouse, like I had to back my van all the way in. But the guys were super nice. So this is a funny story. This is how this always works. So I had reached out to someone who builds cabinets because I could not find any more of those 8x3 countertops. All I could find was the 25-inch ones. They were 25 inches wide, which is kind of like a standard countertop, and 8 feet long. And so I reached out to this guy and I was like, hey, I'm going to buy these from this Facebook Marketplace lead. Would you be able to like glue together the 25-inch, maybe like rip one in half and glue it together? Anyways, it was kind of a little bit of a crazy ask, but I didn't hear back from the guy, so I wasn't sure if he was too interested in doing that. I'm still kind of waiting to hear back from him. But so I go pull in, the guys load up the 5, so I had bought 5 countertops, 25 inches. And my theory was if we cut a couple of them in half, we could glue together like essentially a 1 foot piece onto a 25-incher and make it the width that I would want. And the guy was, again, nice and chatty. This is maybe a lesson for all of us. He was like, so what are you going to use them for? What do you do? So tell him, we were going to use these as basically workstations. And he said, why didn't you get the 36-inch one? And I said, well, I didn't know you had 36 inches. He's like, yeah, come look. So we walked to the very back of this warehouse. It's dark in there too, guys. And he showed me exactly what I wanted. It's the exact same thing that I'd gotten from Granger. 8 feet wide. I think these are 39 inches wide. They're essentially made for countertops for like an island. That's kind of the size you would have. And here, get the deal. He said something, I think he said $220 for this big one. So I had bought 5 of the smaller ones and spent $750. And he said, but I knew what I really needed was 3 of the big ones. And I said, wait a minute, let me do some quick math in my head. I said, I got a deal for you. I said, let's take those 5 off my van and put them back on your rack. Give me 3 of these and you can have the rest, which is going to be, almost $100 to the good for him. And so he was like, yeah, that sounds great. Why wouldn't he? So this is what I've got. And today I picked up 3 of these. They're absolutely beautiful. This is acacia butcher block, not anything you've never seen before. But I just love that I think with some good staining and with some sealant, this could be really, really beautiful workstation for us. And now I have 5 of those. So I'm pretty excited. I just got to line up everything now with the countertop guy, and see if he can work with me on getting them stained and then getting some legs on them and that kind of stuff. But this is going to make life so much easier. And honestly, here's the story. I had been talking to a guy on Facebook Marketplace about maybe making a custom table. The problem was nobody really offers to make tables that are 8 foot long and 3 feet wide. That's a very odd size. In fact, if you research conference tables, a lot of times the conference tables in the listings, that's kind of what I'm looking for. They talk about them being 6 feet long, which doesn't seem very conferencey to me. But anyways, this guy on Facebook Marketplace who does these custom tables, he wanted to charge me $1,000 for one table. And essentially here in the van, I have 5 of these butcher blocks for $1,000. I'll take it. That's why you got to be, you know, a reseller. You got to be, people joke and say, you know, the SanteeSwapper, like I'm always trying to make a deal, and definitely made a deal on these countertops. I'm pretty happy. Time to drive back about 35 minutes to the house and get the rest of my day going. Thanks, guys. All right, is it called an epilogue or a prologue, or what is it called when you stitch something on the end? I'm not sure. But anyways, you will not believe the luck. Literally, as I was in there meeting with those guys, my phone rang, and it was a local area code phone call. Didn't know who it was, didn't pick up because I was obviously in the middle of the deal. So after I finished recording the clip a second ago, I just called the number back, and it was the cabinet guy. And I told him the good news that I didn't need him to glue together any sections, pieces, cutting, whatever. I just had the boards ready to go, the countertops. And he literally, you can't make this stuff up, he's literally on his way to his cabinet shop right now. He invited me to come over and meet him. We could talk about colors and everything and talk about the other parts. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a morning. Like literally, you know, scoring a home run win, and then it's like sliding into, you know, home plate. It's just gonna be too cool. And probably, maybe I can even offload these at his shop and get them out of my van, because they are super freaking heavy and big. So hopefully I will get these bad boys dropped off to the cabinet maker's shop so the workstations can get started. Okay guys, so once again, another update for you. I met yesterday with the guy who is going to be putting together the countertops for me and also building the hutch. And when we were unloading all of the stuff, we noticed that the two that I had purchased originally from Grainger that were sort of sealed in boxes, those had a finish on them already, and these ones that I'd sourced from Facebook Marketplace didn't. And so I kind of faced with the reality that if I was to use the 3 that I bought yesterday and the 2 that I got from Grainger, that I would have, you know, different looks. And I actually had this idea for a while of having basically a rolling table in the warehouse. This was advice I'd gotten from a guy named Chris Jensen, who's been in the business a long time. He has a lot of the racks and things in his warehouse on casters, so he can move them around when needed. And so I kind of had that idea in my mind that I'd like to have a table or two that I could use for sorting and really just whatever needs I would have, that I could roll around the warehouse and would be mobile. So I think what we've decided to do is take the 2 Grainger countertops, which, by the way, the other deciding factor here was it's just a different wood, you know. I mean, you can kind of see this here. It has a certain color and look to it, and the other ones already had sort of coloring, sort of an orangey stain to them. And so, you know, it's not that they don't look good, it's not that I'm not happy with them, it's just that I can't make this and those match. And so that was kind of one of my things. And I told him, you know, we were talking about it, and I said, you know, my plan is moving into this building is that, you know, I'm going to be here 15, 20 years. And then at some point I'm going to hand the keys over and sell the building to someone else, and that'll be the end of the business. So I'm only going to do this one time. I'm only going to, you know, build these cabinets one time. I'm only going to set all this up and build the shelving and everything. So I'm just willing right at this point to do it right, to make it the way I want it to be. Because as I told someone else on Facebook, this is kind of my forever home, in the sense of, you know, I'm not buying another building. This is it. This is the one and done. And so it's going to look good. So what am I doing now? I am back at the Facebook Marketplace hookup. Basically, the guys are super nice, as I mentioned earlier. And when I knew that I wanted to go ahead and get 5 all the same, I'd bought 3 yesterday. I was a little worried that, you know, like they would sell out, they would change the price, something would happen. And I just had this good encounter with him yesterday. So I decided, you know what? Don't have anything to do on a Saturday morning. I'm just going to drive back out there, you know, even though it's about 35 minutes from my house, and get these 2 pieces. So I have them all matching. They literally all came off the same pallet. And that's kind of what I want. I want them to all be very, very, you know, just match, right? I don't want it to look like what the rest of my warehouse kind of looks like, which is that, you know, for 15, 20 years, I've been just sourcing things on Facebook Marketplace and maybe back in the day, Craigslist, and, you know, finding tables and chairs and, you know, stuff that I could get off the side of the road, right? Kind of at this point, I want to set it up the way I want it to be. And I want it, you know, every day when I walk in, I want it to look at it and say, man, that looks nice, and feel good about it. So you know, when you get a little bit older and you saved up a lot of money, you know, through the years, you're like, you can splurge a little bit. And I don't even really feel like it's splurging. I feel like it's just, you know, setting up my systems, my processes, my warehouse, so that it's going to be really, really effective. And we're going to have the ability to keep this thing rolling. So that's the plan. All right, I got to drive back to my side of town, but hopefully I've got everything I need from these guys and I won't have to make this trip back out here anytime soon. Although I have shared their contact information with a few people just in case anybody else wants to get a good deal, because at this time they've got the absolute best prices I could find in the Charlotte metro on these countertops and some other things they have. So I'm not sure, you know, again, what the name of their business is. It's one of those Facebook marketplace deals. You don't ask too many questions, but anyways, I'm happy to get it. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Give you the next update soon. All right, a little check-in midday on day 28. I want to show you some things that showed up a little while ago. Dun, dun, dun. So if you watched the earlier video that I just added in to day 28, this is the Grainger countertop, and it is super thick. It's like, I guess that's like a solid 2 inches thick, and it already had kind of a stain applied to it. Again, I described it as kind of orangey, and so we decided to go ahead and just leave this be, and decided that we would turn this into a sorting table. And so we've got this one here, and then the cabinet maker guy just dropped this one off. This one is still in the box when I got it from Grainger. And so those are going to be assembled. He's actually going to go pick up a few more pieces of lumber from Lowe's, our favorite place, not sponsored by Lowe's, to assemble those. And now I want to go over here and show you, he's gone to lunch. And so I can show you this. This is the butcher block. I think this acacia, I think that's what I said. This is the one that I got from the Russians from Facebook Marketplace. And then Doug, the cabinet maker guy, he you know, sanded this, stained it, did all the stuff, polyurethane and everything. And it's just beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. I'm gonna love coming to work every day and sitting down at this amazing, well, I get, you know, desk, workstation, whatever you want to call it. But essentially this was designed to be a island countertop. That's what that size is, really wide, 8 foot long. And of course we're turning them into workstations. So I went ahead and marked off here on the floor with some blue tape where the lines are so that we can kind of figure out where these go. And if I turn this around, you can see the other piece of this, which is the hutch that he built to go on top of it. So, I mean, I'll show you a better picture of this once it all gets put together, but essentially here in the center, we're gonna have a monitor. Down below, we'll have our thermal printer and our digital scale, all that kind of stuff in the bottom. Here we'll have slots for different sizes of envelopes. And then I've designed this so that there are some acrylic little trays that I can get on Amazon where they sort of pull out, where you can kind of have all your knick-knacky stuff on both sides. So got all that together. There's 5 of them all together, and they're going to, one of them's going to go in my office. And so I've got these legs that I ordered on the internet, and so he's going to come back and have to kind of construct all this. But with luck, all this is going to happen today. So at the end of day 28, I'll be able to show you the finished product. Depending on how much time I have, maybe I can set all the computer stations back up. We'll see how much time. I'm not sure how long this will take. Maybe it'll go fast. I don't know. All right, guys, wanted to give you that little update while he's at lunch. The end of day 28, it's a wrap. I want to show you guys all the progress that's been made, which is a lot, actually. I want to start off here in the Best Hobby Pages room, and you can see that we have sort of our prototypes built for this sliding system where we're going to have all the stuff on racks, and then what will happen is we'll be able to pull out, usually not with one hand because this is going to be pretty heavy, these racks and get to all the stuff we need. We have 6 of them here. There's actually a 7th one in the storage unit that'll be coming over, and so all of that will get taken care of. That was a big project Lori's been working on. Speaking of Lori and Brad, let me show you another project they worked on. Another couple projects, really. So you might remember from one of my episodes, my Temu shelf that I bought. This was my Temu shelf that weighed 111 pounds in the box. And this was during the time where, at the very beginning, I was thinking about, okay, I have all of this space, how can I do shelving? And one thought I had was, oh, let me just do metal shelving. And so I scoured the internet to find an inexpensive 4 foot, actually I think this one's closer to 5 foot long, 2 foot wide shelf. And I came across this one from Temu. It wasn't that expensive. It had free shipping, all of which was, like, okay, good. So I bought it, came to my house, and it was so freaking heavy, 111 pounds altogether, that I couldn't even move it. I fell off my porch and almost, hurt myself. And so that was the end of the Temu shelf buying. And so that's why I know a lot of people have commented about the wooden shelves, and I totally get some of the comments people have said that they wouldn't build that much lumber and wooden shelves and all that. For me, it was a matter of that I had already invested in a lot of this lumber. I already had these shelves from the last 15, 20 years of doing this. So for me, that's kind of the way I went. And also because this Temu shelf wasn't too good. And it turns out Lori, when they put this together yesterday, she said to me, she's like, don't ever buy any more metal shelving. Like she's like, I quit. So this stuff is just a pain in the butt to get, notched in here and stuff. If you ever see these little Temu commercials, there's like this little woman who weighs about 100 pounds and she's just like tapping in all the shelving. And I don't know, maybe you don't see the same ads I see. But anyways, this was not as easy. And certainly I know that she's had a fit working on that brown shelving, which was really heavy duty metal. She had to bang and bang to get it to twist back right, because some of it's been bent over the years. So anyways, this, as I told Brad and Lori, this is probably not where this is going to end up. Y'all, I really don't even want to turn this camera around and show you this room, but I'm trying to keep it real, right? So, okay. So this is the back room. This is the U-Haul death pile truck room. And believe it or not, this room is going to get straightened up. It will not happen before day 30 when we finish this series. Maybe that'll be a post facto video. But anyways, keep it real. All right, another thing that Lori finished that worked out really well. I think I had shown you guys this earlier, but I had gotten this countertop refinished. I'm sorry that there's computer gear on here. That doesn't make it look pretty at all. But she came under here to make this stable and built sort of a system under there. And that, you can't see, I'll put my little camera under here. Actually a clever idea, little pool noodles, so that this would rest on top of pool noodles and keep it steady. In the old office, this thing used to shake. Like if you leaned on this side, then it used to pop up like this, kind of startlingly. But now it is super solid, ready to go. And so that's a great piece. And I love how, again, it doesn't look pretty with this computer gear on here, but we had to move things out of the way for Doug, the cabinet maker, to get his stuff in there. So this will get cleaned up today as well. Speaking of Doug, here's what he finished at the end of day 28. These rolling tabletops, this is going to be for the Granger tables, as I have called them. And I really like how the height is what you would want. These are not meant to sit at. These are meant to be like sorting tables, workstations where we could easily set stuff and look at it. And of course it has casters, yay! I should buy stocking casters. This is the Granger tables that are gonna go on here. I showed you this guy earlier. And so he will mount those tomorrow when he gets back over here. All right, drum roll. Dun, 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 dun. We'll show you the workstations. Ooh-wee. All right, at the end of day 28, this is where we are. We have all 4 of the workstations built, including in my little office in the front, I've got one. And of course, they're not where they're going to be. He's got a little tweaking to do. He's going to come back tomorrow and put a little hole, I call it like a grommet hole, for the power cords to go out. This is the hutch that he built. That's kind of a custom thing that I designed, and we went back and forth a little bit, but it is like so professional looking. Like you wouldn't even, the paint on that is just like, wow, it is so cool. But what we're gonna do is get that all lined up, and then he's gonna drill the hole, and then we're gonna attach the hutches to the tabletop so that they will stay put. And you can kind of see the legs. This is another cool thing. Originally, the black legs here were also ones I found on the internet, and then Doug created these braces that make it where it's going to be super stable. So again, what'll happen is once he gets over here tomorrow, we'll kind of decide exactly, we'll get the measuring tape out and decide, you know, exactly how many feet between all of them. But essentially we'll have our 4 workstations over here. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I said already several times, this was kind of the goal, was to have a really, really nice workstation that every time we showed up or someone came over to visit or whatever, we would just always enjoy being here. You know, that's one of the things. And so this is kind of a sloppily arranged prototype of what it's going to look like. But you can see the monitors that we bought, they fit right in here. Boy, they just fit. I mean, I got about an inch on either side. And then the laptops, I think I was talking to Julie yesterday, I think we're going to use some keyboards just because we have so much room here that it might be easier to use a keyboard and just have this laptop be a screen. Because, you know, these laptop keyboards are kind of little small ones anyways. All of this stuff like thermal printers and scales, all that will fit under here and will kind of be out of sight, built into the hutch. And then we'll also attach the electrical plug on the back side so that you won't see that. So again, a little sloppy here, but all this will be hidden. And then you can't see it very well because it's really, really dark, but don't have the lights up here yet. But there's my office with my big old workstation. So we're gonna have some lighting put in here. I don't know if that'll happen before the day 30 wrap or not, because the electrician was waiting for a part to come in. You know, you can't speed that up. So another thing that'll happen is things like this will get tidied up. We'll kind of figure where does this kind of stuff go. But yeah, we're getting there. So man, this is a lot of progress. We only got really a couple days left to record. So hopefully you guys can see the finale of a lot of these things. But I do appreciate you watching today. I know it was long with me adding in the sort of pre-roll, B-roll of me going out hunting for these. But, you know, I just want to share all the stories because it has been a crazy journey, y'all. Like, that was all, like, in December, my first purchases for this building was buying these off Facebook Marketplace. It's been a wild ride. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it very much. Jason Spangler. I go by SanteeSwapper on eBay. Please subscribe and check out the playlist to see all the videos in this 30-day series of buying my reseller warehouse.